It starts with a strange feeling as the lonely girl quietly looks out the window. The girl stares into the mirror, shocked, as if the face looking back isn't her own. She touches her face in confusion. Black hair, pale eyes, features that don't match who she thought she was. Her heartbeat quickens with the unsettling realization. Her heartbeat races as she notices the calendar marked April 2018. Everything around her feels unfamiliar, like she's woken up in a place that isn't her own. She tries to steady herself, reminding that she's Rumia, just a 5-year-old girl. Yet the confusion deepens because something about that truth doesn't add up. She realizes those memories aren't from a child at all. They belong to a past life. She had once been a Japanese college student, and now her mind holds the weight of 2 lives. She reflects on her new life, the daughter of a noble from the Varshan kingdom, part of the Dolkness family. Yet her parents lived in the royal capital rather than their own. Even so, she realizes she still lacks enough information about her circumstance. She can't read the writings and hears the maid's whisper that her black hair is ugly and frightening. Determined, she asks to learn the letters so she can read books, startling the servants who quickly arrange for a tutor. She dives into her studies, reading everything from picture books to political texts, and soon learns about the royal family and the hidden details of the... Lying on her bed, she realizes the harsh truth. She's deeply despised by those around. She realizes the reason for the disdain. In her country, black hair is linked to the demon king of the past, a feared symbol of evil. Suddenly, she realizes the truth. This world isn't unfamiliar. It's the setting of an Otome game she once played in her previous life. She recalls that the game was set in a world of swords and magic, where the heroine attended a prestigious academy and built romances with multiple characters. At first, it played like a light-hearted school comedy, but as the story progressed, it escalated into battling the Demon King and uncovering darker truth. She realizes she's just the game's villainess, fated to torment the heroine. She recalls the game's exciting battles, where mixing magic and strength made the fights fun, even beyond the main story. She finally realizes the villainess of the game is none other than herself. She recalls the game's mechanics. The Demon Lord required high levels to beat, and over-focusing on defense left players exposed to the villainess's powerful magic. She recalls that in the game, there was no real strategy to the villainess. Only brute force and high levels could win, since her hatred and dark magic made her nearly unbeatable. She realizes her fate. In the game, her hatred turned her into the hidden boss meant to be defeated. Now, in the world of Hikyu, she is the villainess, Yumiel Dolkness, and she wonders if her life could mean more than just that role. She realizes that as the hidden boss, she might actually be the strongest of all. She resolves to stay away from the heroine and love interest, aiming for a peaceful life. She makes a plan to avoid becoming the hidden boss. She writes out a detailed plan: avoid the heroine, stay away from the love interests, and slip quietly through the story until the end. She studies magic with her tutor, but wonders how she'll actually train and raise her level to stay safe. Determined, she sneaks out to fight monsters and raise her level, despite never having used magic before. She casts magic for the first time and defeats the monster, realizing her power doesn't rely on hate. After her victory, she feels quicker and stronger, fired up at the thought of growing even more powerful. She's trained a lot already, but realizes there are fewer and fewer monsters. With no monsters left nearby, she turns to money as a way to get more resources for training. Determined to grow stronger, she heads into dungeons teeming with monsters. She clears the dungeon by herself and even learns recovery magic, proud of how much she's grown. Day in and day out, she devotes herself to the most efficient way of raising her. Years later, she enters the prestigious academy, greeted by a personal maid who vows to serve her faithful. The new maid formally introduces herself, assuring she'll watch over her and help with anything she needs. After their farewells, the maid heads to her quarters while Yumiel returns to her room, ending the day. Tired, she lies down, reflecting that having a personal maid at school makes her feel like a true noble. Reading the letter, Yumiel realizes her future is already being decided through an arrangement. She understands that Rita, her maid, isn't just there to serve her, but also to watch over her on behalf of the Dolkness. The day of the Academy's entrance ceremony arrives, with nobles and new students formally welcomed. At the ceremony, she feels countless eyes on her, as if everyone is watching with suspicion. The other students stare at her in silence, and she realizes why. Her hair color makes her stand out, drawing uneasy whispers. While the others boast about their low levels, she realizes she must conceal her true strength to avoid standing out. Yumiel is called forward, but she stays composed and walks ahead without showing any nerves. She steps up to the appraisal crystal, as the teacher reassures her that even entering at a low level is nothing to worry about. When she touches the crystal, her true power is exposed. Yumiel is already level 99, leaving everyone stunned. The other students are left stunned by the shocking reveal of her overwhelming level. Realizing her secret is out, Yumiel accepts that her peaceful days are now over. The examiner doubts the result, requesting another magical device, convinced it must be a mistake for someone to already be level 99. The result is confirmed, level 99. When asked if she knew beforehand, Yumiel calmly replies that of course she did. Challenged on how she reached such a level, Yumiel declares she defeated monsters herself and firmly insists there's no mistake. The examiner ends the commotion, asking everyone to settle down and Yumiel to return to her seat, noting that the truth will be revealed once class is even doubted by the headmaster. Yumiel considers that in the worst case, she could survive abroad relying solely on her strength. Still, she introduces herself confidently before everyone. The heroine, who is supposed to stand out as the unique commoner in the game, ends up going largely unnoticed during the ceremony. As she's leaving, someone loudly calls out to her, pointing at her black hair. One of the game's main capture targets, William Aries, approaches her. He asks if she's attending the welcome party and pointedly suggests her level might have been tampered with. Edwin Varshin, the kingdom's second prince and the game's main hero, steps in to defuse the tension, reminding them it's not the place for conflict. Yumiel formally introduces herself to Prince Edwin, as the others make dismissive remarks about her background. Edwin defends William, explaining he worked hard since childhood to reach his level. Meanwhile, Yumiel grows frustrated, wondering why everyone assumed she cheated. Oswald Grimsard shows up as well, scoffing that level 99 is simply unbelievable. Yumiel realizes that all the main capture targets of the game are now gathered. Edwin, William, and Oswald are introduced. The Orthodox Prince, the Wild Knight, and the Cool Wizard, childhood friends who are always together. Yumiel chooses to avoid the trio, wanting nothing to do with it. In her thoughts, she recalls the commoner heroine with light magic, perhaps the only one who could truly help her. Returning early, Yumiel skips the party, admitting there was no one she could really get along with. Rita keeps urging Yumiel to make friends, clearly repeating instructions she was given, while Yumiel finds it exhausting. While sipping tea, Yumiel reflects that she's already on the wrong foot. She's managed to get on the second prince's bad side. Yumiel asks Rita about the term pseudo-metropolitan. The maid explains it's a label directed at House Dolkness, but reassures her it's nothing she needs to worry about. She realizes that pseudo-metropolitan is a derogatory term for provincial nobles who reside in the capital without holding an official post. Yumiel concludes that such nobles are basically useless, abandoning their lands just to live idly in the capital. The next day in class, Yumiel finds herself completely isolated from the other students. She thinks spending the next years unnoticed might be easier, yet realizes everyone still doubts her level 99 and keeps secretly watching her. While Yumiel is overlooked, the heroine Alicia is praised for her light magic. Warmly surrounded by admiration, Yumiel grows frustrated, realizing the events are happening too early. The boys are already drawn to the heroine, far sooner than in the game. She worries her very existence might be causing the scenario to change. Alicia, with her rare light magic and cheerful nature, is clearly the heroine, but Yumiel wants nothing to do with it. Yumiel notices Alicia glaring at her, eyes filled with suspicion. In the afternoon, the Academy's practical swordsmanship class begins. During swordsmanship class, Yumiel is handed a wooden practice sword and chosen to be the first to demonstrate her skills. William Aries steps up as Yumiel's opponent, confidently showing off his sword skill. Yumiel faces the duel, wondering how she should hold back her strength to avoid drawing too much attention. Yumiel realizes even her physical blows are overwhelmingly strong, nearly uncontrollable. Still, she accepts William's duel and gets ready to fight. William warns not to blame him if she gets hurt, but Yumiel thinks his survival depends entirely on how well she can restrain herself. As William gets ready to start, Yumiel apologizes, saying it's her first time wielding his sword, yet calmly insists they can begin just like this. William charges fiercely, declaring he won't hold back just because Yumiel is a lady, warning it won't end with just a few broken bones. Yumiel coolly watches William's attack, realizing he's far too slow to land hit on her. William strikes fiercely, but Yumiel dodges effortlessly, her swift and precise movements making his attack miss completely. Yumiel effortlessly knocks William down, but he refuses to accept defeat and demands to keep fighting, even after being declared the loser. Enraged and wounded, William accuses Yumiel of pretending to be a novice, calling her a coward for deceiving. Yumiel delivers a decisive strike, overpowering William in a crushing blow. Yumiel effortlessly defeats William, while Rafina plans to blame the teacher if anything serious happens. William falls defeated but unharmed, and Yumiela, relieved, confirms that everything is fine. Yumiela effortlessly picks William up to take him to the infirmary, leaving the others stunned by her overwhelming Meanwhile, the instructor reminds the class to continue their own training. The class falls into uneasy silence, clearly frightened of Yumiela after her display of strength. She notices their fear but brushes it off, deciding to imitate someone while practicing her swing. Yumiela reflects that she thought she had held back enough. After all, William wasn't reduced. Still, as she practices slashing awkwardly, the teacher never returns, leaving the class unsettled until the session. During magic practice, the instructor cheerfully explains the exercise. Each student must demonstrate their magic by hitting the target, and even a single successful elemental hit will be enough. A lesson begins explaining the basics of magic. Its four main elements: fire, wind, water. The students showcase their skills. Alicia impresses with light magic, while Oswald demonstrates precise control, highlighting how rare and powerful light and dark magic you. Yumiela notes the target is tough, while the crowd praises the display. Oswald impresses everyone with his magic, leaving Yumiela as the only one yet to show her. Yumiela notes Oswald skipped swordsmanship, while she herself focused only on strength and dark magic, lacking skill in the four basic elements. Oswald boasts that the training dummy's armor is specially made and claims even he couldn't break it, doubting anyone else could. The teacher explains that only royal court magicians can destroy the target, but allows her to try. Confident, Yumiela accepts, certain it won't be a problem for her. Yumiela casts Dark Flame, and though it looks like a tiny spark, it instantly melts the armored dummy, leaving everyone shocked. Yumiela demonstrates her Dark Flame, a magic that melts even stone and metal without heat, almost like acid. Calmly, she admits she's hopeless with other elements, but excels at dark magic, leaving the crowd stunned into silence. Yumiela's display of dark magic shocks everyone. The teacher praises her, insisting dark magic has its place, though Oswald angrily refuses to accept it. Yumiela reflects that having both light and dark magic is as rare as winning the lottery. Edwin slams down paper, declaring Yumiela unfit for the academy and expelling her. The headmaster hesitates, but others point out Yumiela's rare dark magic and her level 99 strength, proving her power is real and undeniable. Yumiela challenges their attempt to expel her, pointing out it's reckless to discard someone as powerful as a royal court magician. Edwin smirks, clearly intent on pushing her out. Calm and unfazed by doubt, Yumiel casts her magic into the sky, proving her strength without causing harm. Yumiel asks Prince Edwin for permission to use her magic, and he agrees. Though others worry about responsibility, she calmly assures she'll take it on and gets ready to cast her spell. Yumiel recalls that the last time she unleashed her full power, she carved a crater in the forest. Since then, her magic has only grown stronger, and she can't even guess her true limits. In the game, only the Demon Lord could wield this ultimate dark spell. Yumiel unleashes her ultimate spell, a massive black hole in the sky. The spell erupts in the sky and fades away, leaving only silence behind. The black hole pulls the air above the academy into a vacuum. a spell that erases everything caught within its reach. Yumiel steps forward with a chilling smile, asking the prince if this is enough to prove she's truly level 99, while he trembles in fear. After showing her overwhelming power, Yumiel travels to the royal capital for an audience with the king, stepping into the palace with commanding presence. Yumiel kneels before the throne, hearing whispers about her black hair. When she lifts her head, she finds herself face to face with the king and queen. The king apologizes for the rude behavior of his son and the academy's instructor. Yumiel notices neither he nor the queen show any disdain for her black hair, allowing her to feel a bit more at ease. To everyone's surprise, Yumiel bows and takes responsibility for the trouble she caused, apologizing to the king instead of accepting his apology. The king asks Yumiel to raise her head, saying it's unreasonable to dismiss her level with arbitrary judgment. He acknowledges there were many ways to prove it, but adds that there's still more to be addressed. The king admits it's hard to believe such a delicate young lady is already level 99. Since even his subordinates share doubts, he resolved to take action to settle the matter. The king summons Adolf, captain of the knights, to judge Yumiel's strength. Renowned as the kingdom's strongest and around level 60, he accepts the task, vowing to display his full power in a single strike. Adolf strikes suddenly, and Yumiel hesitates, unsure if she should fight back before the king. At the last moment, Yumiel dodges the strike by bowing. After Yumiel dodges, Adolf quietly sheathes his sword. Adolf admits Yumiel is truly level 99, impressed by her ability to dodge a strike. Though he apologizes for the attack, he now asks her to demonstrate her magic. Yumiel complies and casts her spell, unleashing a shadow lance. Dark magic so rare it leaves the onlookers astonished. The shadow lance radiates a sinister aura, prompting concern among the court about just how dangerous dark magic might be. The court magician explains that dark magic is just another element, weak against light, but strong against the four basics. Like any other magic, whether it's dangerous depends entirely on the wielder. The magician notes that dark magic is rare and often linked to high-ranking demons, which fuel suspicion. Still, he points out that much of this perception is based on rumor rather than proven fact. The king concludes that fear of the unknown fuels prejudice against dark magic and black hair itself. Yumiel realizes the discussion about prejudice might be intended to reassure her. The king praises Yumiel for reaching such great power and asks how she achieved it. Humbly, she replies she didn't do anything special, though she's grateful for his words. Yumiel plainly describes her training, defeating demons in the forest, venturing into dungeons, earning funds for growth items, and using a summoning flute to fight waves among. The guards are horrified to learn Yumiel entered dungeons alone, without protection charms, and even used a summoning flute to call hordes of demons. The king asks if Adolf could replicate Yumiel's method, but he admits he'd never dare without a protection charm. Meanwhile, Yumiel wonders why everyone looks so shocked. The king asks Yumiel to wield her power as the kingdom's sword. She replies humbly that she intends to serve instead as its shield, protecting Varshan. The king offers rewards, even welcoming her into the royal family. Yumiel realizes this is their way of chaining her to the kingdom now that they've acknowledged her true strength. Yumiel turns down lavish rewards, asking only for a peaceful life. The king smiles and vows to uphold her ideals of peace. Yumiel remarks that if she ever grows tired of this place, she'll live abroad. The king agrees, and with that, her audience ends, finally setting her free. Just as she thinks she's free, Yumiel is led into another room and told she's been invited to the queen's tea party, much to her surprise. The queen greets Yumiel warmly, thanking her for coming to the tea and explaining that the king is too busy to join them. Yumiel politely introduces herself and thanks the queen for the invitation. Smiling, the queen reassures her it's just an informal occasion and there's no need for strict formality. The queen explains that what's said in this room will remain secret, as she intends to share things she wouldn't tell others. Uneasy, Yumiel feels a bad premonition and just wants to go home. The queen smiles, telling Yumiel not to be so guarded, assuring her that both she and the king have taken a liking to her. Still tense, Yumiel thanks her politely. Yumiel asks why the queen trusts her so much. The queen explains it's because, unlike the ambitious, Yumiel seems sharp-minded and uninterested in wielding absolute authority. The queen explains that many nobles flatter the royal family, but since Yumiel shows no interest in such schemes, she's seen as someone they can truly trust. The queen gets straight to the point, saying she will reveal information known only to the royal family and a select few. The queen reveals that in 2 years the demon lord will rise again, asking for Yumiel's cooperation and subjugation. Stunned, Yumiel thinks to herself, she may be the hidden boss, but she isn't the demon lord. The queen reveals that the demon lord will return in 2 years and asks for Yumiel's help in subjugating. Shocked, Yumiel wonders if that's also why Alicia, the commoner with light magic, was brought into the academy. The queen reveals the demon lord's castle. After a moment's thought, Yumiel agrees to cooperate. The nobles outline their plan. Regular forces will hold back the demon army, while an elite unit moves to defeat the demon lord, turning it into a full-scale war for the kingdom. The mission to subjugate the demon lord is entrusted to an elite team. Prince Edwin, Captain Adolf, Alicia with her light magic, and Yumiel herself. Yumiel considers herself lucky. If she helps defeat the demon lord but claims no credit, she'll avoid getting dragged into any power struggles. Asked for her honest opinion, Yumiel notes that Captain Adolf's absence from the defense corps is worrisome, since the knights are at their best. The queen explains that even level 30 soldiers couldn't stand against the demon lord before. That's why only those at level 60 or higher, like Adolf, are deemed essential for the battle. Yumiel stresses the party must be at least level 60 to eliminate the risk of the kingdom being overrun. Yumiel declares that with a level 99 like herself on the team, the demon lord's defeat is guaranteed, freeing Adolf to focus on protecting the people. The queen finalizes the team. Edwin, William, Oswald, Alicia, and Yumiel will form the subjugation squad, with Adolf assigned to defend the king. The queen cheerfully notes that Yumiel will have more chances to bond with her teammates at the academy, while Yumiel wonders in dismay how things turn out this way. Yumiel doubts Prince Edwin's strength, but the queen reassures her it will be fine. The queen declares with full confidence that Edwin can achieve anything he sets his mind to. Yumiel stays silent, clearly unconvinced. The queen praises Edwin, saying that as a prince he naturally seeks military glory and that she truly believes in him. Yumiel, skeptical, thinks she's blind to his flaws. The queen proposes that Yumiel take the role of saintess and marry Edwin. Yumiel bluntly refuses, saying the offer is far too much for her. The queen shifts the proposal to Morsis, yet Yumiel declines again, noting marriage into royalty would never bring peace. The queen admits she expected this answer, but wanted her sons to hear it. The queen states that if Yumiel became the saintess, even the prejudice against black hair would fade. Yumiel thanks the queen for her concern, but inwardly resolves to flee abroad at the first sign of trouble. The queen warns that with news of her level 99 out, many factions will try to win Yumiel, even within the royal court itself. The queen outlines the political landscape. She and the king belong to the main faction, while the radical faction, led by Duke Hilros, pushes for change within the kingdom. The queen notes that many provincial nobles, including House Dolkness, fall under the radical faction. Yumiel realizes her family is likely under Duke Hilros' sway. Yumiel worries about being forced into marriage or adoption by the Hilros faction. The queen promises to issue a royal decree shielding House Dolkness, but admits it will only hold until Yumiel graduates years. The queen warns Yumiel to avoid the Hilros faction and watch for foreign powers eyeing her strength. Yumiel thanks her, certain 3 years will be enough. The queen urges Yumiel to enjoy her youth at the academy and promises royal support if needed. Yumiel replies with a polite acknowledgement. After the audience, Yumiel ponders the queen. Though eccentric, the queen's words make her realize her own family is tied to the radical faction, complicating her situation further. Yumiel grows excited at the thought that she might control demons as well, seeing it as an opportunity to further upgrade her skill. Back home, Yumiel muses that defeating demons might be easier than controlling them. Her maid greets her with a book already filled with news spreading from the royal audience. Rita is shocked by the queen's gift, but Yumiel brushes it off casually and simply asks her to brew some black tea. They delight in the queen's gift of first-class pastries, their taste buds feeling blessed with every bite. A week after her summons to the royal palace, Yumiel finds herself suddenly popular at the academy, particularly among the upper-class students. Yumiel is repeatedly invited to social gatherings, which she finds bothersome, yet she realizes her daily life at the academy is beginning to change. Even her classmates, who once kept their distance, now greet her warmly and begin talking to her. Though most now approach her more easily, Yumiel realizes things with Alicia remain strained, as the girl reacts sharply to even the slightest interaction. The prince and his companions apologized after the royal audience, yet since then they have barely spoken with Yumiel. Yumiel finds yet another invitation, realizing just how popular she has become at the academy. An eager young man suggests that with Yumiel's power, they could conquer neighboring nations, assuring her he'd handle the politics as her future husband. Yumiel notes that being zealously approached by the radical faction has become an everyday occurrence. Just as the queen predicted, the day after her royal audience, children of high-ranking noble families began approaching Yumiel. Nobles courted her with gifts and marriage offers, each eager to claim her for their faction. Among them, one radical stood out, far more extreme than the rest. He offers wealth and status, but Yumiela rejects him outright. Yumiela rejects him, declaring her ideal partner must be stronger than her ultimate refusal. Despite her rejection, he boasts about his intellect, leaving Yumiela even more annoyed. He belittles her combat skills while praising his intellect, but Yumiela counters by questioning why he isn't the top student. Yumiela challenges him on ruling the continent. Overconfident, he claims he could govern it with ease. He boldly claims that with her as his wife, he could even overthrow the royal family and rule the continent. Yumiela stares coldly at him, declaring that his words amount to high treason against the Varshin royal family. She reminds him that under the kingdom's law, the penalty for high treason is death, leaving him in panic. Yumiela chooses to pretend she didn't hear anything, but warns that if someone had overheard, he could be accused of treason just for being linked to her. Terrified, he bolts away in a panic. Yumiela simply thinks he's an idiot. Yumiela resolves to just avoid the radicals and enjoy her academy life. Yumiela meets Eleonora Hilros, an influential heiress feared for wielding her family's power. Yumiela finally meets Eleonora Hilros, who had long wanted to speak with her. Yumiela watches Eleonora, thinking she looks like someone hard to deal with. Yumiela realizes it'll be hard to avoid Eleonora, since they share classes, and accepts they'll inevitably cross paths again. Yumiela accepts Eleonora's invitation to the salon and thanks her for the warm welcome. Yumiela wonders if she could ever fit into noble social gatherings, but immediately rejects the thought. Yumiela resolves that, even if she's not suited for nobility, she can at least join in small talk. Yumiela listens to Eleonora's enthusiastic talk about perfumes and politely asks her to share more. Eleonora chatters endlessly, while Yumiela pretends to listen, letting everything go in one ear and out the other. Yumiela wonders if Eleonora invited her just to chatter endlessly. Surrounded by followers, Eleonora feels more like the true villainess than Yumiela, who thinks the role was miscast. Eleonora gets ready to get serious, but whispers and gasps from her followers steal the scene. Eleonora bursts out emotionally, demanding that Yumiela give up on Prince Edwin. Eleonora tries to bargain. If Yumiela gives up on Edwin, she'll be allowed into her entourage. Eleonora bursts out, accusing Yumiela of aiming for Edwin and demanding she back off or become her enemy. Yumiela reflects that those accusations should be aimed at the heroine, who's always with Edwin. Eleonora accuses Yumiela of aiming to marry Edwin, but Yumiela clarifies she already rejected the proposal before the queen and that no engagement has ever been declared with the prince. Yumiela downplays her meeting with Edwin, while Eleonora, relieved, assumes she knows her plan. Eleonora demands Yumiela stay away from Edwin and join her circle, but Yumiela politely declines. Eleonora accuses Yumiela of feigning disinterest to pursue Edwin, but Yumiela just finds it bothersome. Yumiela hints that Eleonora is far more compatible with Edwin, which delights her. Eleonora brags about dancing with Prince Edwin many times, while Yumiela realizes her approach was motivated by him, not friendship. Yumiela enjoys her meal, finding it especially delicious because she's tired. Even after 3 years, Yumiela still feels a gap between herself and her classmates. During lunch, Yumiella notices a classmate named Jessica. Yumiella realizes Jessica was meant to be Alicia's first friend in the original game, yet she hasn't seen them together even once since the entrance ceremony. A classmate asks to sit with her, and Yumiella realizes she's finally bridging the gap with her. In the cafeteria, Alicia looks straight at Yumiella and bluntly asks if she is the Demon Lord. At the mention of Demon Lord, everyone around reacts in shock. Yumiella realizes that in a country full of prejudice against black hair, just saying the title is treated like a forbidden word. Alicia reveals that Ed told her the Demon Lord will return in 2 years. Shocked, Yumiella realizes only the royal family and a select few nobles should know that, and she firmly denies being the Demon Lord. Yumiella grows frustrated, realizing the prince carelessly leaked royal secrets to Alicia. To make it worse, Alicia is already calling him Ed, like they're close. Yumiella thinks the only thing at level 99 about Alicia is her communication skill. Alicia said Edwin mentioned the Demon Lord's return and hinted Yumiella was connected just because of her black hair. Yumiella countered, saying black hair alone isn't proof she's tied to the Demon Lord. Yumiella reminds them dark magic isn't inherently evil, something even taught in class. The boys rush to protect Alicia, but Yumiella points out she's the one under attack. The prince blurts out that the Demon Lord's revival in 2 years was royal secret knowledge, exposing Alicia and stirring chaos. A classmate accuses her of being the Demon Lord, but Yumiella firmly denies it, declaring she's not. Her classmates debate whether she'll join the Demon Lord subjugation team, but one insists her power will inevitably lead to... Yumiella just thinks he's being a fool. One of the boys accuses her of deception and vows to bring her to justice, shouting with conviction despite having no real evidence of a crime. Yumiella stares them down and coldly asks if they truly think they can beat her. Frustrated, she realizes arguing is pointless when even another student blindly sides with her. A classmate openly sides with Alicia, recalling how she gave him confidence when he thought he had no magic. Yumiella realizes his attachment to Alicia is stronger than she expected. Just like in the game, events trigger around Alicia as her bonds grow stronger, drawing the boys to her side. Yumiella realizes even her strength is being twisted as proof she might be the Demon Lord. Yumiella acknowledges her overwhelming power, possibly rivaling the Demon Lord, but warns the others that they're far too weak and need to grow stronger if they hope to stand a chance. Yumiella urges them to keep training, specifically telling Alicia to sharpen her light magic to counter the Demon Lord. Yet she suddenly pauses, realizing something important. Yumiella realizes that as the so-called master of leveling, she can't just leave them on their own. She considers stepping in to guide their training so they can truly grow. Yumiella steps forward with determination, announcing that she'll teach them the fundamentals of leveling up. Yumiella lays out the basics of leveling up with absolute seriousness, as if giving them a crash course in survival. Yumiella raises her voice like a commanding speech, stressing Alicia's role in dark dungeons and explaining tactics for defeating demons. Yumiella finishes her lecture on leveling up, declaring she's done. The room falls silent, and even the prince is left speechless in awe. The prince yells in panic, accusing Yumiella of trying to get them killed with her reckless advice. She quietly admits she may have gone too far and considers lending them a hand herself. The prince rejects Yumiella's offer, declaring he'll grow stronger on his own. She notes that while reckless, at least he shows some courage. Yumiella realizes her lecture backfired, leaving the others uneasy and suspicious about dark dungeons. She admits to herself that things went poorly. Yumiella realizes her attempt to explain dark dungeons only sparked more suspicion and admits the situation went badly. Yumiella realizes the girl's hostility might stem from remembering the game's story, but also admits her very presence could have already altered the original plot. After a full day of watching her, Yumiella concludes the girl is nothing more than an ordinary, well-mannered student. Alicia lacked noble etiquette, but her bright personality won others over. With support from her potential suitors, she managed to fit in easily. The real Alicia was cheerful and kind to everyone, even animals, showing genuine kindness even when no one was watching. Though kind, Alicia rarely interacted with other girls. Always surrounded by 3 boys, making it hard for anyone else to approach her. Determined to follow her, Yumiella leaps ahead, only to come face to face with the cat Alicia had been tending to. Relying on her ability to erase her presence, Yumiella carefully approaches the cat, knowing sudden movements would only scare it off. Yumiella sits quietly in front of the cat, meeting its wary gaze with calm, steady patience. The cat bolts in fear, leaving Yumiella behind. She reflects that ever since her reincarnation, animals have always feared her, an unsettling feeling of déjà vu creeping in. Yumiella is startled when a young man appears at her door, standing silently, as if holding back something important. The boy, apparently a classmate, awkwardly covers his face after witnessing something he shouldn't have. Flustered, he insists he saw nothing, while Yumiella stares at him intently. Yumiella explains, almost defensively, that the cat didn't escape. She simply let it go. Without lingering, she dashes off, leaving her classmate to quietly move on as well. Yumiella scans the area, unaware that her classmate is quietly watching. His eyes lock on her the moment he spots her again. Realizing the situation, Yumiella doesn't hesitate. She vaults out the window with startling speed, leaving her observer in shock. Watching from the side, Yumiella notes how the scene feels straight out of an Otome game, while Edwin patiently explains to Alicia that noble laws are really just social custom. From the sidelines, Yumiella realizes Alicia has entered Edwin's route, her loyalty and devotion shining through. While she's friendly with others, it's obvious Edwin is the one closest to her. In class, Edwin suddenly asks Alicia why she thinks Lady Yumiella is the Demon Lord. Edwin tells Alicia that his father confirmed Lady Yumiella isn't the Demon Lord. Alicia then realizes her suspicion was only because Yumiella has black hair. Someone sketches on paper, but it turns into nothing more than a dark scribble with 2 tiny white dots, leaving Edwin puzzled about what it's supposed to be. Yumiella suddenly shows up at the window, startling Edwin as he realizes just how sharp her eyesight is. Alicia admits she sees Yumiella as a dark, ominous mass, radiating a terrifying aura, something only her light magic allows her to perceive. Yumiella realizes that the vast gap in magic affinity and levels might explain Alicia's strange perception of her, noting too that Alicia doesn't exactly think highly of her. The prince notes that Yumiella's strength is extraordinary. Reaching level 99 isn't something just anyone can do. Even if she isn't the Demon Lord, she's still remarkable. Meanwhile, Alicia grows uneasy, but he warns her not to get too caught up in such dangerous matters. Alicia recalls her vow to Ed, vowing to use her magic to help save the world. She sees the academy as a precious chance and, with a bright smile, asks him to watch over her as she gives her all to fulfill that promise. From outside the window, Yumiel watches in silence as Alicia and Edwin make their vow to defeat the Demon Lord together. Peeking through the window, Yumiel watches Alicia and Edwin together, realizing the scene looks exactly like something straight out of an Otome game. Sitting in thought, Yumiel concludes that Alicia doesn't seem to be a reincarnator like, for better or worse. Her fate is now tied to the others, as she's been named a party member too. Returning home, she's greeted by her maid. Back home, Yumiel is greeted by Rita, who mentions that even the queen sent sweets that day. Rita notes that her lady seems to have grown fond of such things and offers to brew tea. Then, with a pause, she hands over a package, saying it came from the maid. Yumiel sighs, tossing the papers onto the desk, while Rita urges her to at least glance through them. The next day after class, Yumiel heads to the headmaster's office, wondering why she's been summoned. Yumiel steps inside and meets Ronald, the new headmaster, who greets her politely and makes it clear he wants to get to know her. Yumiel notices in the mirror that the servants avoid her even more because of her black hair, and she wonders if there's a way to lessen their. Yumiel realizes her hair makes her look like a Japanese doll. She thinks about cutting it short, but decides it doesn't feel right considering tying it up instead. Yumiel thinks about dyeing her hair, but realizes it would be too much trouble, needing constant touch-ups, or it would look messy. Deep down, she doubts anyone would even want to deal with her hair. Yumiel wonders if she should cut her own hair, but quickly gives up on the thought. She jokes that at this rate, she'll look like a woman from the Heian period, with hair growing endlessly. In the end, she decides to just let it grow and see how long it can get. Yumiel enjoys the tea and sweets, feeling in pure bliss. Yumiel begins her dance lesson, realizing it's hard to practice alone without a partner. Alone in her room, Yumiel uses dark magic to conjure extra arms to practice her dance steps. To her surprise, it works surprisingly well. Yumiel dances under the moonlight, her conjured dark arms serving as partners, turning her practice into a graceful yet lonely performance. After startling a maid, Yumiel lounges in her room, casually playing rock, paper, scissors with her shadow arm, as if they've become her new friends. Yumiel introduces herself to the new headmaster, Ronald. With a warm smile, he assures her that the former headmaster has resigned and there's no need to trouble herself about him. Yumiel notices the headmaster's smile is fake, sensing he's trying to make her lower her guard. The new headmaster states he was sent by the king and knows all about the demon lord's resurrection, proof of the trust placed in him. Though she thanks him politely, Yumiel can't help but find him shady. The headmaster notes Edwin's reckless slip of state secrets, and Yumiel confirms he declared the demon lord will return in 2 years. Yumiel recalls Alicia's accusation that branded her the demon lord, causing school-wide chaos, while the headmaster notes the prince and his companions have been acting unusually unstable. The headmaster notes Yumiel's peers were never taught to handle failure, so her surpassing them shattered their pride. The headmaster admits even he fears her, though Alicia's presence has helped ease the students' tension. The headmaster admits rumors are unavoidable given her power, but assures her the king knows she's not the demon lord. Yumiel concedes that suddenly appearing at level 99 naturally invites suspicion. Yumiel asks if the royal family truly knows about the demon lord. The headmaster dodges the question, his silence implying yes. Yumiel realizes the king never once believed she was the demon lord, even after rumors spread that the resurrection had been pushed forward because of her. Yumiel is left confused, suspicious of the new headmaster. Though he calls himself humble, he clearly has close ties to the king, even knowing details about Prince Edwin's childhood, and offers to act as a direct link to the royal family. Yumiel realizes the headmaster holds his own discretionary powers, making him far more than just a messenger, far more suspicious. Yumiel feels uneasy, convinced the headmaster is reading her like an open book. He praises her talents beyond brute strength, certain working with her will be effortless. The headmaster asks Yumiel to assist in the upcoming field exercise, a safe training where students hunt demons. It's essentially a dungeon capturing tutorial for leveling up. Yumiel agrees to take part in the field exercise, though she finds it odd given her level 99 strength. The headmaster clarifies her role is simply to assist teachers and handle emergencies, since only weak demons will appear. Yumiel only needs to watch over the provincial nobles, since their drive to level up differs. Provincial nobles train to protect their lands, while metropolitan nobles rarely bother leveling. Metropolitan nobles aiming for military roles must reach high levels. Special training courses prepare them. He claims level 40 is already tough, but she insists 60 is better. In the game, Alicia trained with metropolitan nobles. She's eager to see how the provincial nobles train and level up. She's told to only supervise, and she agrees. He warns her not to overdo her methods. On the day of the field exercise, the students gang up and quickly take down monsters with ease. Yumiel watches the students training, finding it too laid back, as the instructor calls for a break. During the break, the students rest while Yumiel hands out potions. Watching the students rest, Yumiel deems it all highly inefficient. Yumiel recalls the boy from the cat incident, and he introduces himself as Patrick Ashbatten. Patrick proposes splitting the group into vanguard and rear guard to handle more demons, and Yumiel confirms it's a tactic from his territory. Patrick explains the vanguard holds the demons while the rear guard attacks. Yumiel notes this means they level up at different rates. Patrick notes leveling in groups is tough, which is why even season knights remain around level 60. He explains they sometimes reverse roles in battle. Yumiel realizes her solo leveling method was indeed the right way. Patrick doubts the few demons, but Yumiel pulls out a summoning flute, shocking everyone. Yumiel blows the flute, ignoring the protest. The flute's sound summons enemies, and the students ready for battle. Patrick takes command, directing the defense against the demons. Demonic wolves charge forward, and Patrick commands an immediate attack. Patrick urges the group to keep firing as waves of magic blasts rain down on the wolf. The wolves pounce, knocking down students, but Patrick swiftly slashes one down with his... Patrick takes command, ordering the injured to fall back and the others to raise their shields again. Yumiel quietly watches as Patrick fights with determination against the... The students collapse in exhaustion after the battle, while Yumiel watches with curiosity. Patrick, tired and upset, confronts Yumiel, who wonders why he's so angry. Yumiel reassures everyone, saying she'll handle the restraints, convinced Patrick understands her. Meanwhile, he grows more upset that she casually used his name in public. Yumiel vows to halt the demons and tells the others to simply take their time finishing them. Yumiel declares she won't let a single enemy lay a finger on them. Yumiel casts Darkbind, ensnaring the enemies in shadows. With the monsters restrained, Yumiel tells them to strike anytime, but grows puzzled at the murmurs around her. Yumiel explains it's her magic, Darkbind, which restrains without killing, assuring them the demons are firmly bound. Patrick slays the restrained demons and, worn out, simply sighs as he walks away. Patrick proves he's fine and that Yumiela's tendrils are harmless, though she realizes they still frighten everyone. Patrick asks Yumiela to warn him before using the summoning flute, as the students cheer for receiving the magic stone. Yumiela praises Patrick's leadership, and he explains he's the son of a Margrave, with plenty of battle experience before enrollment. Patrick awkwardly brushes off his words, claiming he didn't mean anything by them, clearly flustered. Patrick shields Yumiel, stepping in front of her, taking the hit himself. Patrick gathers his strength and lands a powerful blow to drive back the enemy. Patrick heals Yumiela's wound with magic, a rare and special ability, though she knows it carries a limitation. Patrick finishes the healing, but the result looks grotesque, though he asks if Yumiela feels any. Patrick thanks her, says he's fine with no side effect from it. Yumiela feels relieved, but questions why he jumped in front of her. Patrick apologizes, saying he thought Yumiela was in danger, while she's baffled, reminding herself she's level 99. Patrick insists Yumiela should take better care of herself and carry a protection charm, while she realizes, surprised, that he genuinely cares about her. Yumiela realizes Patrick truly tried to protect her, driven by genuine concern. Yumiela, moved, can only whisper a thank you, showing her gratitude sincerely. Yumiela realizes no one had ever done that for her before, and it makes her blush. The day after the field exercise, Yumiela is summoned by the headmaster for using the demon summoning flute. He remarks with interest that even the concept of healing exists within dark magic. Yumiela affirms that her dark magic can even regrow an arm. Yumiela wonders if her leveling method was wrong, recalling Patrick's harsh scolding. Yumiela recalls losing an arm before, realizing she nearly lost her head instead, something healing magic can't restore. In discussing performance, it's noted that only Prince Edwin, William, and Oswald were able to defeat demons. The report states that William went on a relentless assault, while Edwin and Oswald handled the rest. William isn't a team player, but the other two worked well together since their childhood friends. While the other students were praised for defeating demons, Alicia couldn't beat even one. The most important thing for her now is to train and improve her light magic, the ability that earned her a place in the academy despite being a commoner. The report shows that even if Alicia wanted to fight, it wouldn't have mattered. The prince and his friends just wanted to impress her, but what truly matters is her becoming a competent light mage. Yumiela agrees to help when needed, but secretly plans to throw Alicia into a dark dungeon full of demons to force her growth. When told about a request to test magical tools, Yumiela eagerly agrees without hesitation. The headmaster explains that weapons, armor, and magical tools are widespread, but require durability testing. A piece of iron, meant for armor, is handed to Yumiela for inspection. Yumiela stays silent, holding the iron blankly, leaving the headmaster wondering about her response. Yumiela notes the iron bent too easily, suggesting it could be good training to control her strength. The headmaster, unable to bend it at all, is astonished. After the field exercise, Yumiela's solitary school life shifts slightly, as Patrick begins striking up conversations with her from time to time. Yumiella brings up the demon-summoning flute incident to Patrick, who briefly joins her before saying goodbye. Yumiella notes that Patrick seems to have many friends, or at least she thinks so. During the pair training, Patrick offers to partner with Yumiella, even though she's always alone. Surprised, she agrees. Yumiella watches Patrick lead effortlessly. Everyone follows him without question, his charisma undeniable. To her, his voice rings out clear and lingers in a way she can't quite explain. Patrick brushes off his healing as nothing, yet Yumiella quietly notes his kindness. Training beside him, she remarks on his friends, still surprised by how genuinely considerate he is. Yumiella and Patrick exchange playful banter while sparring, leaving her astonished. To her, it feels like the closest bond she's formed since being reborn into this. While sparring, Yumiella realizes Patrick is far more skilled than her. His sword style is sharp, efficient, and purposeful, inelegant at first glance, yet undeniably beautiful. Yumiella loses control of her strength and knocks Patrick down. Flustered, she apologizes repeatedly, but he gets up with a smile, thanks her for the spar, and shrugs it off. Patrick downplays himself, saying he barely put up a fight, but Yumiella insists she learned a lot from watching him, acknowledging his swordplay is far superior to her. Patrick, frustrated, asks why she's still intent on fighting when she's already strong enough, while Yumiella admits she only relies on raw speed and power, asking him to stop looking at her that. Yumiella realized she already surpassed the Demon Lord, yet wondered if seeking more power mattered in such a vast world filled with unknown threats. They discussed the rumor that the Demon Lord would rise in 2 years. To her, it was certain whether a real threat or something the king was trying to conceal. He admitted it was hard to say if the Demon Lord's return was real, though the rumors around the prince couldn't be dismissed. Meanwhile, gossip spread about his open romance with Alicia, their closeness on full display at school. Yumiella wondered about the rumors linking her to the Demon Lord. Rather than fading, the whispers only grew louder, fueled by the prince's odd behavior. Patrick stood up for Yumiella, calling it ignorant to brand her the Demon Lord just because of her black hair and dark magic. Patrick recalled his childhood struggles with his nearly black hair. Relatives mocked him for it, but his family reassured him, though he always hated the shade. Yumiella remarked that his hair looked closer to white than black, especially compared to hers, leaving Patrick taken aback. Patrick admitted he admired Yumiella, vowing never to despise her for her pitch-black hair and praising her strength for embracing who she was. Yumiella shyly thanked him, admitting she found his gray hair lovely. Patrick smiled back, saying he thought her black hair was absolutely gorgeous. The scene shifted to battle, where a monster was hurled into the air and effortlessly struck down. After the clash, Patrick collapsed, but quickly reassured everyone he was fine and the pain was gone. Yumiella, panicked, apologized frantically as the crowd looked on. Patrick praised Yumiella's magic, saying her healing felt good despite how unsettling it looked. She modestly replied it was just luck, tied to the attributes she was born with. Patrick told her he admired how she never rejected who she was, just like she accepted her black hair. Yumiella admitted that if it were her, she probably would have hidden the fact she could use dark magic. Patrick recalled when an upperclassman insulted her hair color. Even then, Yumiella stayed composed and didn't lose her cool, something that only deepened his respect for her. Patrick admitted that in that moment, he couldn't help but marvel at Yumiella's strength. She quietly thanked him, her sincerity showing, while he realized just how much she had impressed him. Resting in her room, Yumiella pondered her power, while Patrick wondered if she had been born with the ability to wield dark magic. A thought arose. In the game, Yumiella's powers awakened only after falling to the dark side. But what if she had been born with them? That could explain the deep hatred directed at her and her natural link to dark magic. Yumiella chose to let the past go and move forward. He warned her never to play the demon summoning flute. They reminded her it was just training, and Yumiella promised not to use the board. Yumiella recalled she was only supposed to supervise. The training seemed smooth, but their overconfidence made them vulnerable. Yumiella stepped in, healing the wounded with her magic and restoring them back to fighting shape in an instant. Yumiella found the relaxed mood odd, recalling that in her past, leveling up had always been a matter of life and death. Yumiella readied a special spell, raising her fingers to call forth her next move. Patrick scolded Yumiel for bringing something so dangerous, but she argued the others needed real challenges. Reluctantly, he admitted she might be right. Yumiel claimed her classmates were strong enough to clear a dungeon alone. Patrick shot back, calling it madness. No one would be crazy enough to try that. Called crazy, Patrick resolved to stand his ground against Yumiel. Yumiel argued that wasting time on weak foes was pointless and even threatened her very identity. She pressed Patrick, reminding him he had once agreed they should push the group against stronger enemies. Patrick hesitated, and Yumiel realized she needed a way to keep everyone on edge. Yumiel proposed an extreme plan: injure her classmates on purpose, then heal them so they'd start taking training seriously. The class voted between the demon summoning flute or actual bodily harm, overwhelmingly choosing the Watching the outcome, Yumiel realized she had gone too far and admitted she'd lost her composure. Yumiel admitted she gets carried away with leveling up. Though Patrick's status outranks hers, she didn't really care. Her own family had it coming anyway. Yumiel admitted to herself that, despite her coldness, she'd feel a little lonely if Patrick ever came to hate. Patrick took command during the training, directing the others as Yumiel silently watched from afar. Yumiel realized Patrick was using wind magic to carry his commands, which explained why his voice resonated with her so strongly. Yumiel observed Patrick using earth magic to steady his teammates, a feat she couldn't replicate. Impressed, she thought he might be a true genius in team battles, and wondered how she could face him after this. Patrick's classmates cheered for him, praising his wind magic and leadership. From a distance, Yumiel watched quietly, her own words of praise fading before she could speak. Yumiel stayed quiet as Patrick smiled brightly, basking in the praise and attention of his classmate. As Patrick was surrounded by cheering classmates, Yumiel stood apart, isolated, watching from the distance. Back at the academy, Yumiel worried Patrick might hate her and never speak to her again. Looking back, she realized her past self wouldn't have cared, but now, the thought unsettled her. At the academy, Alicia approached Yumiel, hesitating nervously before saying anything. Alicia bowed deeply, apologizing to Yumiel for having called her the Demon Lord the other day. Alicia confessed her regret for the thoughtless remark, while Yumiel was surprised she had the courage to apologize despite her obvious fear. As Yumiel acknowledged Alicia was a good girl, a boy suddenly stepped in, demanding she stay away from her. The boy accused Yumiel of using the demon summoning flute to pit the entire class against hordes of demons, even suggesting she might have tried to kill someone and cover it up as an accident. Yumiel admitted the rumors had been blown out of proportion, but she had no way to defend herself. Yumiel stood in silence as he shielded Alicia, the distance between them unmistakable. Yumiel thought about her loneliness at the academy, even considering fleeing in disguise, but realized she still wouldn't truly belong anywhere. Standing before Patrick and Alicia, Yumiel wondered if there was truly a place for her in this. Yumiel called out to him, Patrick Ashbatten, asking him to wait, trying to stop him from leaving. Though some argued Yumiel had done nothing wrong, Patrick stood firm, declaring she was still at fault for using the summoning even in front of the prince. Patrick and the prince locked eyes, each standing firm in their opposing stance. The prince left with Alicia at his side, while Yumiel watched quietly and Patrick followed close behind her. Patrick remarked that it must have been unpleasant for Yumiel, yet she noticed he was clearly very upset. Yumiel asked if Patrick was angry for confronting the prince like that, but he said he didn't care what others thought of him. Patrick admitted he was astonished by how poorly the prince acted, hardly fitting for royalty. Yumiel, flustered, tried to say that wasn't what she meant. Patrick apologized for earlier, admitting he got carried away and spoke out of turn. Patrick smiled and told her not to worry, making it clear he didn't care for rigid, noble customs or formalities. Patrick told Yumiel there were more important things to worry about and suggested they head back to class together. Yumiel softly called out to Patrick and, with genuine sincerity, thanked him. Patrick was taken aback by Yumiel's rare smile, while she seemed puzzled, not realizing she had smiled at all. Patrick confessed he worried when she returned to the academy without a word, and told her to just call him Patrick, dropping the formality. Yumiel brushed off her feelings, saying her little sulking moment was over, and Patrick accepted it with. Yumiel truly wished to become friends with Patrick, yet feared it might be asking for too much. The story shifted to the start of the summer vacation at the academy, signaling a new chapter for the students. As summer break begins, most students return home, but Yumiella decides to stay at the academy, using the time to train on her own. During the break, Yumiella finds out Patrick also stayed at the academy. They train together, with him correcting her form as they spar. During practice, Yumiella accidentally uses too much force and knocks Patrick down, but he brushes it off. Their vacation days end up feeling no different from a school term, as she continues spending time with him. While training, Yumiella studies the sword's technique, noting how the blade's angle changes the force needed. Patrick, out of breath, suggests they take a break, and she readily agrees. Patrick thanks Yumiella for sparring with him over the holidays. He jokes about hoping not to embarrass himself in front of everyone once training starts, while she calmly replies. With a laugh, she insists she's actually been holding back her strength. Yumiella proudly reveals her new magic plate, while Patrick questions what it's even good for. Yumiella tries to control her strength using the plate, but bends it, realizing she hasn't mastered it. The classroom is half empty during the summer, with most nobles busy at parties. Patrick mentions rumors about feuding houses, while Yumiella quietly takes it in. With the campus nearly deserted for summer, Yumiella enjoys the peace and quiet, thinking there's still so much to do in the world, even now. A few classmates approach Yumiella for help with their studies, and she agrees without hesitation. She realizes that, lately, the rumors about her haven't been all that bad. Yumiella realizes that even some provincial nobles have started talking to her, though it only happens with classmates, and only when Patrick is around. Her classmates ask what she and Patrick do when they're alone. Yumiella bluntly answers, they just train to level up. Excited, Yumiella asks if her classmates are into leveling up too, and even offers to take them to a dungeon fit for training, shocking them completely. Patrick tells Yumiella to stop scaring the girls with her extreme suggestions and advises her to hear them out first. She's taken aback by the thought of simply listening. As classmates whisper that she's like a beast being tamed by Patrick, Yumiella flatly points out that she's not deaf. Some classmates remark that Yumiella and Patrick look like siblings, but she quietly admits to herself that they're not really that close. Tired of the constant gossip, Yumiella sighs, only to overhear someone sneering that Alicia needs to learn her place. Alicia's reputation has taken a hit. Even with her rare light magic and connections to powerful people, some say she's getting ahead of herself, and whispers about her humble origins still linger. Patrick tells Yumiella he won't be at school, and she simply says it's a shame, puzzled by his warning not to do anything weird. The next day, Yumiella resolves to spend her time in the library, determined to read everything she can get her hands on. Yumiella admits she's hopeless at anything beyond magic, but watching Patrick makes her realize the value of technique and strategy. She resolves to master them to grow even stronger. Inspired by Patrick, Yumiella heads to the library to study strategy and history. Spotting Alicia in the library, Yumiella hides herself at once. Yumiella notices Alicia alone, but to her surprise, Alicia approaches and asks for her help. Nervous yet determined, Alicia asks Yumiella to teach her about magic. Yumiella realizes Alicia is struggling to level up and connects it to the special training course the principal had mentioned. Alicia confesses she's too scared to go into town alone and doesn't have enough time to return home. While there are skilled tutors at the palace, what she really wants is a female friend, something she's never had, and she turns to Yumiella for that. Alicia reveals there's hardly any written material on light magic, and even the instructors are just improvising. Determined, she decided to take her studies into her own hands, though the library offered little. Yumiella, recognizing her effort, thinks she might be able to assist as a fellow rare magic. Alicia beams with joy at Yumiella's offer, while Yumiella thinks it's the perfect heroine smile. Alicia bluntly asks how Yumiella mastered dark magic, while Yumiella thinks she could never admit the truth that it all came from playing the game. Yumiella thinks about how the game gave her knowledge of light magic as well, but admitting it would be suspicious since such details aren't found in books. She hesitates, unsure of what answer she should give. Yumiella brushes it off by claiming she practiced while pretending to be a superhero. Yumiella asks Alicia to link something to light, and Alicia recalls the stars she used to watch with her grandmother in the countryside. Alicia recalls her childhood in the countryside, with no tall buildings, just a sky filled with countless stars, a truly breathtaking sight. Yumiella asks if Alicia has shared her countryside memory with the prince. Alicia falters, but Yumiella notes he'd likely care. He always listens seriously when it comes from her. Alicia thanks Yumiella for her help and cheerfully takes her leave, while Yumiella simply tells her to take care. Yumiella stays alone, quietly immersed in her books, stacks piling up as she keeps studying. Patrick shows up, finding her buried in books. He notes her effort and offers to help put them back, while Yumiella thanks him. Patrick gives Yumiella a parcel from the queen. They briefly talk about his palace visit and his status as a Margrave's son, which he acknowledges casually. Patrick nervously suggests they could enjoy the sweets in his room, but quickly realizes the impropriety. Yumiella sternly reminds him that it's improper for a lady to invite a man into her room without formality. Patrick apologizes for his slip, and they agree to share the sweets in the dining hall. They share sweets in the dining hall, but Yumiella eats sparingly, stressing moderation. Yumiella quietly munches, reserved. Patrick enjoys the treat, and they agree to train. The holidays end quietly, with remarks on Patrick and Yumiella getting along. The holidays end, marking the start of the Academy's martial arts festival. The Combat Arts Festival features sword duels and magic contests, open to everyone. Winner gets a rare item. Entry is optional. Yumiella refuses to join the festival, considering it improper to outshine others. Patrick opts out too, but reveals the prize is a rare amulet that boosts dark magic, shocking Yumiella. Hearing the prize boosts dark magic, Yumiella bursts with excitement, insisting she absolutely wants it, while Patrick looks stunned. Motivated by the prize, Yumiella firmly declares she'll enter the festival, leaving Patrick in disbelief. Yumiella presses hard, demanding her right to compete as a student, then realizes she overreacted and reins herself in. Yumiella notes the prize won't vanish and is fascinated by the rare item she's never seen, as the headmaster recalls past winners. Yumiella, driven by her desire for the rare item, resolves to enter both contests and finalizes her registration. After Yumiella leaves, the man mutters in disbelief that she took the bait so easily. On the day of the Combat Arts Festival, Yumiella realizes it's far bigger than she expected. Patrick notes the venue was moved to a large arena to accommodate the nobles' attention. Yumiella realizes the nobles didn't come for Patrick, but to watch the second prince take the spotlight. Yumiella realizes the nobles came to see her, treating her like a weapon on display for the military. She sighs, calling fame a burden. Yumiella heads to the stage with determination, declaring she'll give it her all. Patrick encourages her with a calm, "Do your best." Patrick tells Yumiella to hold back and restrain herself. She finds his concern a bit over the top, thinking he worries too much. The tournament matchups are decided by lottery. Yumiella notices that Prince Edward and William ended up on the same side of the bracket. Yumiella steps up to the box before the crowd and draws her opponent, signaling the start of the tournament. Yumiella draws number 3, shocking the crowd. She realizes that under normal circumstances, she'd only face the princes in the final. Her opponent steps up proudly, boasting that after intense training, he's now level 20, warning Yumiella not to expect a repeat of their last fight. Yumiella stares blankly, wondering if she's really supposed to be impressed by that. As her opponent boasts, Yumiella remembers to ask about the special course and awkwardly readies her stock phrases to keep the conversation going. Yumiella's rehearsed lines flop, angering her opponent, and she awkwardly apologizes in fusion. The boy declares his dream of surpassing Captain Adolf and acknowledges Yumiella's level 99, which pleases her. He boasts that defeating Yumiella will bring him closer to his goal, while she coldly vows to face him in the finals and bring his downfall. The first round begins. Competitors fight with real swords. Those skilled fighters are expected to hold back, and healers stand ready in case of it. Each fighter wears a protective amulet, ensuring no risk of death. At the signal, the crowd cheers as the battle officially begins. One defends, waiting for an opening, while the other shifts stances and feints. To Yumiel, though, their movements are painfully slow. Yumiel notes that people here value technique over leveling it. With the first match done, it's now her turn to step into the arena. Yumiel's first opponent is Louis Wrexham. Confident, He sees the match as a chance to show off his skills and grab the spotlight, dismissing her as nothing more than a stepping stone. Yumiel readies herself, focused on her sword. Though it's high quality, she knows her strength could easily snap most blades in half if she swings too hard. Yumiel twirls her sword effortlessly, noting she wouldn't even need it if not for the sheer pressure of her swing already shakes her opponent. Yumiel wins effortlessly as her opponent yields without taking a hit. She recalls Patrick's advice, focusing only on holding back so she doesn't go overboard. The tournament goes smoothly, and Yumiel makes it to the finals without fighting a single match. William defeats Edwin, securing his spot in the finals against Yumiel. The final match begins, Yumiel versus William, who's eager to finally fight. William shows off his weapon, Strode's massive greatsword, far beyond a practice. Yumiella recognizes it as Strode's greatsword, an in-game weapon with insane durability and power. She figures William must have pulled strings to get it. Yumiella realizes dodging alone would get bored, so she decides to try Patrick's approach, redirecting William's strikes instead of just avoiding them. Yumiella spots the perfect opening and makes her move at just the right moment. Yumiella's sword cracks. If it breaks, she'll be disqualified. To avoid disqualification, Yumiella drops her sword and ends the fight with a crushing punch, shocking everyone by winning with sheer physical power. Yumiella is declared the winner, while her opponent panics over his broken sword, unaware her punch was the true cause. Yumiella admits she panicked, but she's certain no one there is strong enough to notice her movements. William definitely did. The swordsmanship tournament ends, marking the start of the magic contest. Contestants showcase their magic before royal court judges, who determine the results. Yumiella sits bored, watching others perform magic, with nothing to do until her turn. A teacher advises Yumiella to take the magic contest seriously, noting that it's not just raw power, but also the type and precision of magic that matters. The opponent admits they'd stand no chance against Yumiella in a fight, but claim the upper hand here thanks to complete mastery of the 4 classical elements. Yumiella realizes she hadn't thought of that. Yumiella notes her accuracy isn't great and worries that relying only on dark magic puts her at a disadvantage against someone who commands all 4 elements. Her opponent confidently mentions receiving top-tier training at the palace over the holidays. Yumiella uses one of her magic phrases to keep the conversation going, asking what kind of training he had. He smugly replies it was proper training, unlike her crazy methods, then adds he has something important to tell her. Her rival acknowledges Yumiella is truly level 99, apologizing for doubting her and acting unusually polite. He admits he still dislikes her, but declares victory will be his first step toward becoming the kingdom's greatest magician. Yumiella declares she won't lose and will give it her all, while Alicia has already gone ahead to compete. Alicia is introduced as a first-year student wielding the element of light, while Yumiella hopes everything goes smoothly. Alicia clasps her hands in prayer, her body radiating a gentle glow of light. Alicia raises her arms and unleashes light magic, casting sun rain. Alicia's magic lights up the sky with radiant sparks, reminding her of stargazing with her grandmother. Yumiella watches in awe, realizing the power before. Yumiella admits Alicia's brilliance, reminding herself that she's the story's true heroine. Yumiella notices the light vanish at her touch, realizing it's likely due to her dark magic. Alicia earns top marks for the rarity and beauty of her light magic, while Yumiella reflects that her only chance lies if rarity factors into the score. Edwin steps in with mastery over the 4 classical element, while Yumiella notes her surprise that Alicia has managed to stay in the lead for so long. Prince Edwin reveals his magic, showing decent control over fire and water, but he struggles with wind. Edwin scores 90 points and is praised for his rare ability to handle all 4 classical elements. Still, in raw magical talent, Oswald outshines both him and William. Oswald steps onto the stage with confidence. His magic aura glows brightly, signaling he's ready to show off his strength. With a thunderous boom, Oswald summons massive rock pillars, shaking the arena and leaving the crowd stunned. Oswald amazes the judges by unleashing a powerful combination of earth and water magic, earning astonished looks from the crowd. With a sharp gaze, Oswald demonstrates precise control over his magic. The massive structure crumbles into cubes before the audience, showcasing his refined mastery. Oswald summons a blazing orb, growing it until it fills the arena. Oswald unleashes his spell, ending in a massive blast. Oswald strides forward with calm confidence, his magic fully under control. Oswald is met with cheers and applause after his display, while Yahello quietly watches. Yahello admits Oswald wasn't just boasting. He truly mastered the elements, controlling them separately and even canceling them out with precise output. Oswald earns a perfect score of 100, astonishing the crowd. With a smug tone, he tells Yahello she can't possibly beat full marks. Still, Yahello reflects that she hasn't even decided what magic to use, and this contest could still end in a tie. Yahello realizes the order is based on level. The higher, the later you go. Since Oswald went right before her, she figures the others must be around level 20. Shocked, she notes they've actually been working hard to level up. Yahello notes that while Alicia's group trains to face the Demon Lord, the kingdom's defenses also need to be reinforced. Yahello spots Patrick watching from afar and remarks on his sharp eyesight. Yahello takes on the challenge. Since Patrick is far away, she flashes a wide smile just so he can see it, startling him in the process. Yahello is introduced as the final contestant, greeted by cheers. Patrick instinctively steps back upon seeing her. Realizing she can't hold back now, she resolves to overwhelm everyone with sheer power. Yahello unleashes her dark aura, a true display of level 99 power. Yahello casts Black Hole at full power so even Patrick can see it clearly. As the crowd panics, she wonders how long it's been since she last went all. The entire Colosseum is swallowed by the darkness of Black Hole, so massive it looks like day has turned into night, leaving the crowd stunned by Yahello's overwhelming power. In the arena, the black-haired girl stands tall, stunning the crowd and signaling that something extraordinary is about to begin. She gazes at the sky, amazed that her own magic could shine with such unexpected beauty. The crowd panics as her magic forms a destructive vortex, pulling the air inward. Terror spreads, and everyone fears they're witnessing the power of a true demon lord. She realizes she only cast a single spell, yet its overwhelming impact left everyone stunned. As she considers what spell to cast next, her opponents panic and surrender before she even makes a move. She's crowned the overall winner of the festival, earning an astonishing score and receiving the dark magic enhancing. She accepts the amulet, convinced it will make her even stronger, but Patrick challenges her, asking if she truly needs that much power. She offers to prove her new strength with the amulet, but Patrick scolds her for having already shattered an opponent's sword barehanded. The next morning, she greets Patrick with a bright smile, catching him off guard and leaving him flustered. Patrick notices Yahello seems more relaxed than usual and asks if something happened, but she casually replies that nothing in particular. Everyday moments reveal a softer side of Yahello, enjoying food, showing off a new magical tool, and smiling freely, as if she's finally allowing herself to relax. She warmly thanks Patrick for always sparring with her. Patrick wakes up shaken, realizing it was only a dream lingering. Over a meal, she thanks him for sparring again, but notices Patrick seems troubled. He brushes it off, insisting it's nothing. She stares at her plate in silence, and when Patrick questions her, she calmly tells him not to rush her. Still shaken by his dream, Patrick panics as she waves her cutlery, but Yahello insists she's casting a spell to make the food taste better. She brushes it off with a simple, "It's nothing," while Patrick admits he can never understand what goes on in her head. Patrick feels an intense, uneasy atmosphere, convinced something is off, even while just looking at the cake on the table. Patrick eases the tension by offering her some of his dessert, admitting he doesn't have much of a sweet tooth and will be glad to share. She calmly accepts Patrick's offer and takes a bite, while he watches her closely. After tasting it, she softly smiles and says the cake is delicious. Patrick thinks to himself that she's not as expressive as in his dream, but to him, this is more than enough. A few months after the festival, winter sets in and the first school year nears its end, though the weather isn't all that cold. Though winter is mild, her school life remains solitary. After the festival, classmates grew even more afraid of her, deepening her isolation. No one besides Patrick has spoken to her lately. He's her only source of company, while the rest of the class keeps their distance. A classmate confronts her, pointing out that Alicia's belongings have been going missing and asking if she knows anything about it. Prince Edwin presses her for answers, but Patrick steps in, declaring it prejudice to accuse her without proof. Emilia, meanwhile, quietly bids farewell to her peace and quiet. After the confrontation, Edwin apologizes, admitting she'd never do such a thing. The tension eases as Patrick stays by her side, showing his support. She notices how much Edwin's attitude has shifted, realizing he handled the situation far differently than she expected. She recalls that in the game, she was the one harassing Alicia, but now, someone else has taken her place, using the resentment many hold against Alicia for being a commoner close to the prince. She realizes something doesn't add up and wonders who is truly behind bullying Alicia. She resolves not to let the bullying drive Alicia away from school. Determined to step in, she notes that Alicia is always protected by her companions, making direct harassment impossible during class. So the bullies must be targeting her after school. She sets up a stakeout after class and catches a student acting suspicious, who panics and scrambles to explain herself when confronted. She suddenly appears, startling the student. Terrified, the student begs for her life upon realizing it's Emilia. The student admits she was following Eleonora's orders, while Emilia wryly notes her exaggerated demon lord reputation. Eleonora confronts her, asking if Emilia is claiming she ordered Alicia's belongings to be hidden. Emilia clarifies she isn't accusing Eleonora, only reporting the girl's actions, which were confessed as her own. Eleonora coldly accepts the explanation. Eleonora subtly warns her, hinting that even the prince might hold her accountable for her friend's misdeed. Eleonora protests her innocence, insisting the girl acted alone, yet admits the prince believes leaders are accountable for their followers' actions. Emilia reassures her that she'll keep the matter a secret, leaving Eleonora startled. Emilia advises her not to punish the accomplice, noting that Prince Edwin will soon be hers anyway. Eleonora agrees, insisting a commoner could never marry royalty unless she achieved something extraordinary, like defeating the demon lord. Emilia warns Eleonora to stop bullying Alicia or risk jeopardizing her own prospects. Emilia points out that bullying Alicia would only draw her closer to the prince, advising secrecy about their. Eleonora is moved by what seems like genuine concern.